Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Survival Let's Play. So I just thought I'd quickly start off today's episode over here in this challenge room that I did in the last episode. So I've added two more challenges to the room. So there's this one over here, which is collect one of each different villager. So I'm not actually sure how many villagers there are in this game, but if you spawn a villager in a different biome, like if you do it in a desert, and then one in a swamp, and then one in a jungle biome, each villager will be like a different skin. So the challenge is to get one of every single type of villager. So I just thought that'd be a fun challenge to attempt. I don't know how many there is, but I'll probably get them from all over the world and then bring them back to the base. And probably have a room in the base with all of those villagers. But anyway, the other challenge is over here. To get a full shulker box of diamond blocks. So that is going to be quite a challenge, a big grind. I have got the diamond beacon out here already. I still need to get a full stack of diamond blocks for the checklist room over here. And then after that I can start saving up the full shulker box of diamond blocks. So that's going to be quite a grind, but it should be a fun challenge to work on. So yeah, those are the two new challenges that I've added to this room here. And I've still got space for 8 more challenges. So if anyone's got any ideas for some challenges you want to see me do in this series, try not to make them too easy, but also make sure they are possible to do. I asked for some challenges over on TikTok and people said like, get a full shulker box of netherite blocks. That's just not really possible. That would take so long, it'd be so boring. So yeah, I'm trying to look for challenges that are hard, but not impossible. So if you've got any ideas, just let me know. I've got 8 more slots here. But anyway, on to what I want to do in today's episode. It's going to be quite a big project, but I'm 45 or 46 episodes into this series and I still don't have a decent iron farm. I actually don't have any kind of iron farm at the moment. I used to have one, but I tore it down. So I don't really have too much iron. You can see here I've got like 2 stacks of iron blocks and a little bit here. There's really not too much in there. So I want to go and build an iron farm today. And I'm quickly going to head over to the place when I'm going to build it. So I'm sure this was already given away in the thumbnail, but I want to build my iron farm around my guardian farm here. So I built this thing a long time ago now. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was in like the first 5 episodes. I do come and use it quite often, but I've not really been here in a video for a while. And I never got around to decorating this place because I always knew I was going to build the iron farm around this farm. And then I wasn't really sure how I was going to decorate it, so I wanted to like merge the 2 storage rooms into one and stuff like that. So I just never bothered to finish this project. But hopefully I can get it all finished in today's episode. So I'm not sure if anyone remembers my previous world, but I built an iron farm and I had an AFK center, so I would stand like AFK right here. And then I had 8 iron farms around me. So there's like 4 up in the sky and then 4 down below. But the way that iron farms were set up, all of them were in the simulation chunks at the same time, so all 8 of the farms worked in one go. So I just had to stand AFK, and then I got the rates of 8 different farms all at once. So that's kind of what I'm going for here as well. So I want to have my guardian farm right in the centre, so this is going to be like the AFK spot for the entire project. So I'm going to get all of the guardian drops and the XP. And then I'm also going to be running all of the iron farms at the same time as well. So that is the plan. I'm not sure how well it's going to go. And I do think I'm going to have to drain a lot of the ocean as well. Because the lower down farms are going to be like underneath the water, if not. So yeah, I'm not really too sure how this is going to go. I do need to plan it out a little bit more. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing just yet. Or what iron farm I'm going to be using or anything like that. So yeah, there's a lot of planning that's going to go into this before I can even get started. But this is the plan for today's episode. Okay, I'm back and I've already put a lot of hours into this project and I've barely even started it. But I'm just going to quickly try and get you up to date on the progress that I have made off camera. So I've basically just planned out where all of the iron farms are going to go, and then planned out the area of the ocean that I'm going to be removing. So to do this, all I did was I found the central location of the farm, which is these 4 blocks here. So the 2 I'm standing on, and then the one underneath the observer and the piston here. So these 4 blocks are like the very centre of the entire farm. And then I've counted out by 50 blocks in each direction. So this here is the first block, And then if you count all of these blocks along here, all of the way to the end, it will be exactly 50 blocks to this one right here. So from the first one to this is exactly 50 blocks. And then I've made this too wide, of course, because the center of the farm is too wide. So I've just done this on all 4 of the sides. And then I've counted out from 50 blocks here as well. So this is block number 1. And then the very corner block where this pillar is a block number 50. And then of course I've done the same from that side as well. So from right over there to the corner block again would be 50 blocks. So this is just a big square. If I fly up a little bit, you can see that I've done that on all 4 sides. So I've counted out by 50 blocks on all 4 sides. And then I've connected it into a big square. So next up what I did is I counted up by 50 blocks in all 4 of the corners. So in the very corner block, I've counted up by exactly 50 blocks. And then I've placed a block diagonal, one outwards on each side. So these all go away from the center of the farm. And then I've made a 21 by 21 square. And the reason I've made this out of prismarine is because this is actually going to stay here. All of the other blocks here are just for like marking out where stuff are going to go, and every other block is going to get replaced. But the prismarine is actually going to be permanent. So I'm going to make the iron farms out of prismarine, and this is where the base of the top iron farms are going to go. So I've just done the same on all 4 corners again. I've counted up by 50 blocks, gone 1 block diagonal away from the center of the farm, and then made a 21 by 21 square. So this was the easy bit to do. The next bit, I had to figure out where the iron farms down below were going to go. That was a little bit harder. So what I did is I wrote the coordinates of this block right here. So this would be 1916, 136, 78. So the middle coordinate doesn't really matter right now, but I got the first and the last coordinate. And then I've gone down to the ocean level right here. And then right in the corner, I found those coordinates, which is right here. So this is like directly below where the farm above is going to go, or where the corner is. And then I've made another 21 by 21 box. So this is where the bottom iron farm is going to go. And I did this on all 4 sides as well. But this one does actually need to go lower down. I would be building it at Y level 36, I think. But I need to clear out a lot of water before I can like start planning out what I'm going to do down here. But I think Y level 36 is pretty much the bottom of the ocean. So right here, or a little bit lower actually. So I need to clear out all of this ocean all of the way around before I can like actually build the bottom farms. And you probably notice that I've got a circle of stone bricks around all of the corners. And then I've got a line connecting them together. And this is the area that I'm going to be clearing out. So all of the water inside that area is going to get cleared out. And that's quite a lot of water. It's going to take a long time. And I don't actually know how long it's going to take. But I think this video might be a little bit delayed. It's definitely a big project, and I want to try and get as much of it done as possible in one episode. So I hope I explained all of the dimensions and stuff right. So if anyone wants to build this on your own world, you can. But if you need any questions answering, if I didn't explain something properly, just let me know down below and I'll try to answer all of them. But the logic behind the farm is that when you build an iron farm, you've got to be over 100 blocks away from a village. So a village is like 10 villages and 10 beds or something like that. So the logic I'm using here is as long as the iron farms are 100 blocks away from each other, they should all work in one go. Like if they were only like 90 blocks away from each other or something like that, I think they would start interfering with each other and it'd cause issues and they wouldn't work. So there's going to be at least 100 blocks in between each of the farms. So that's across and also like up and down. So none of the farms should interfere with each other and they should all work in one go. That's the logic anyway. I have done this before on a previous world. It was a slightly different design, but that one worked pretty well. So hopefully this one works as well. And of course you don't need to build it around a guardian farm. You could just build it anywhere in the overworld and it would work. But I just wanted to like centralize it around my guardian farm so I can get the guardian drops and the iron at the same time. But yeah, there's not really too much more I can do right now apart from clear out all of this water. So this is actually the main reason it took me so long to get to this project. I really haven't been looking forward to doing this. So what I'm going to have to do is just go all of the way around the outside where the stone bricks are. place some glass underneath like this, all of the way to the ocean floor. And I'm going to do this all of the way around. And then once I've done that, I'll have like a little underwater tank kind of thing. And I just need to clear out all of that water. And I think it would be quite fun to time-lapse this. But it's going to be a massive project. It's going to take a lot of hours. And I just don't have the space on my hard drive for all of that recording time. And also, if I'm trying to record a time-lapse and get all of the angles right and stuff, it's just going to slow me down even more. So I think I'd just rather do most of this off camera. I don't know how much I'm going to get done. But I'm just going to spend a few hours grinding away at this, and then I'll do an update soon. Okay, I'm back with quite a big progress update here. I've put a lot of hours into this project since the last little clip that I recorded. So if I fly over here, you can see that I've placed all of the glass all of the way down to the ocean floor. And I've done this all of the way around the project. And I kind of underestimated how much glass this would take. So overall it took about 10 shulker boxes full of the dyed glass. But yeah, I've placed all of that. I've got all of the outline marked. And then you can see that I've started clearing out some of the water. And I've not done this for a long time. It's been like quite a while since I cleared out a big area around an ocean monument. Like I first did it when they first came out. And it was so stressful, I don't think I've ever done it since. So yeah, I kind of forgot how tedious this was. But you can see here, I've made a decent amount of progress. If I fly up a little bit, I don't really know how much of the project it is, probably like a sixth of it overall. And this was quite a few hours worth of draining the water. And you can actually see here, I tried using a flying machine, but this is a third one that I've tried and none of them have worked. I'm building them exactly how they are on the tutorials. And they're just not working, so I'm not going to bother with them. It would have saved me a little bit of time probably, but I'm just going to do it all by hand instead. So this is the method I have been using here. So I've been placing sand because it drops all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. I've been making these 5x5 squares, and then I've just been placing sponges like this, and kind of just making my way down, jumping onto the sponges, and then breaking the ones higher up. And just kind of doing this all the way down to the bottom. All the sponges that I break like stay inside the square, so I've not been losing any of them. It's not the fastest method ever, but it does work. So when I'm down at the bottom like this, and I've got all of the sponges, I just need to place some torches, and then I can get all of the sand. So I think this is a wall here that's got the air behind it. So I can just place the torch at the bottom like that. It breaks all of the sand. So I don't have to mess around using a shovel or anything like that. So yeah, this is the method I've been using. It's probably not the fastest method. I assume the flying machines would be faster, but they're just not very good on Bedrock Edition. But like I said, I did try a few different designs. Some of them were Bedrock Edition, and then this one is a Java Edition, and just none of them have worked. So I've just not bothered with them. I'm just going to clear it all by hand using that method I've been doing there. It is pretty slow and tedious, but I'm making a decent amount of progress. I think it took me like 2 hours to clear all of this bit out. So overall it's probably going to take like 10 or 12 hours I'd say to clear the entire area. And there's not really too much more I can say about it. I've just got to crack on and get it done. Okay, so that was a massive grind, but I just thought I'd do a quick update before I get too carried away with this project. So you can see that I've cleared out all of the water. It took about 4 days, about 2 or 3 hours per day, so I'd say about 10 hours overall this project has taken me, just to clear out the water, and then obviously there's still a lot more work to go. But while I was doing it, I've had some good inspiration for how I'm going to decorate this project once I've done with the iron farms. And I actually wasn't sure what I was going to do with the temple when I started this project, because the project has to be centralised around the Guardian farm, which is here, and the Guardian farm isn't in the centre of the temple. So obviously it looks a bit weird just having the temple not in the centre of the project. So what I am going to do is destroy it all and then move it so it is in the centre. I actually need to move it down by a few blocks as well, so I probably would have ended up destroying it and moving it down anyway. So I'm just going to destroy it later on in this episode and then move it back by a few blocks. and then down by a few blocks. So that's going to be quite a big project as it is, but I'm going to get the iron farms and stuff built up first, and then we'll focus on this later on. But like I said, it took me about 10 hours to get all this water cleared out. And I've just been sitting here listening to some YouTube videos and stuff like that, just as like background noise. But this is the kind of project I would love to work on in a live stream one day. Like, I do want to start live streaming eventually, I've said this quite a few times. But my internet is just very bad and I cannot do it on this internet. It's too laggy and stuff. The quality of stream would be terrible. And I've tried getting better internet, but in this area it's just not possible. Like, the internet's just terrible in the area that I live. So I do need to move house before I can start doing that, and I'm not sure when that's going to be. It could be like sometime soon, it could be in a couple of years. But I would love to start live streaming at some point, and then when I'm doing these big grindy projects like this, when I'm just removing a load of water, I can kind of just do that on a live stream, and it helps pass the time a little bit. But anyway, on to the next part of the project. I can start getting the iron farms in place now. So hopefully I can get all 8 of these in place, and then when I'm spending quite a lot of time over here decorating and moving the monument and stuff like that, these iron farms will be working, so I'll just be getting a lot of iron while I'm busy doing all of the other stuff. So I need to get the bottom one in place, and then I can build the top one directly above it, because the killing chamber is going to be down here. So there's not going to be a killing chamber for the farms up above. I don't know if I mentioned this already. It has been a few days since I recorded the beginning of this episode. But the iron farms up above are not going to have a killing chamber. All of the iron golems are going to fall straight down onto the one below, and then there's just going to be one killing chamber for each of the corners. So I've already got the beds in place, and then I've set up some pods here for some villagers. So I need 10 villagers in that pod, and then I need 10 villagers over there as well. And I've got 20 beds in the middle, so each villager will have a bed. And I've set up a nether portal here. So I've actually not shown it yet, but I'm going to head over there in a second. I've got a villager breeder just over there, and it sends all of the villagers into a nether portal. So what I'm going to do is bring the villagers through the nether, and then they're going to come through this portal, fall down here, and then the water's just going to push them down into the hole, and that's where they need to be. So I'm just going to quickly fly over here to the villager breeder that I set up. This has been running for a few days now. Every time I've got a little bit of free time, I just stay AFK over here. So this has been here before I even started planning out the project over there. But you can see I've got some villagers in here. All of the babies fall through the trapdoors that are like beneath the composters and stuff. And then they get sent through to the nether. So I'm just going to quickly head through here, and then I need to pick up a villager. And one must have come back through the portal. So I've stayed AFK near the villager breeder quite a few times over the last few days. And you can see I've got a lot of villagers in here. I don't think this is going to be enough though. I do need 160 overall. That's 20 per farm, and then there's 8 farms, so I do need 160 of them. I don't think this is enough. They're all just pushing each other into this corner here, so I should be able to just put a minecart down, get a villager, and then press the button, activates the powered rail, and it will go towards the nether portal. It's actually not that far away in the nether, so I can just break this, and he should go straight through. And then if I follow him through, he should drop down straight into the hole. Okay, so he's been a bit stubborn, so I can just push him off here, and he goes into the water stream and then straight down into the hole. So yeah, that's the first villager in place out of 160, and he's going to be there for the rest of his life. So I need to get another 9 into this pod with this villager, and then I need to set up a pod over here and get 10 standing on this block right here. So it should actually be quite easy to do now I've got the nether portal and stuff set up. Then I'll just move the nether portal over to here. It shouldn't take too long. I've messed around with villagers a lot in the past. I think I'm starting to get quite good at it. So I'm just going to quickly get another 19 villagers, and then that will be this farm pretty much complete. I've got the first 10 villagers in here, and I actually just realised that before I get the other 10 villagers in, I need to give these ones a workstation each. Otherwise, like, these villagers could start linking to the workstations over here or something like that. So I'm going to get the workstations in, but first I need to put water at the villagers' feet. So I've got a water bucket in a dispenser, and that's just going to stop the villagers from unlinking from the workstations or the beds. I'm not really sure why that happens, but yeah, just putting water at the villagers' feet will stop that from happening. So now I can break this, and I'm just going to place some workstations around. So I'm going to put 1 there, and then I'll put 3 behind here, and then 3 up each of the sides, and just make sure that a villager links to each one of them. So that's all 10 of the villagers in place, and they've all got a workstation. So now I just need to do the same over here, and then there's a few finishing touches to the farm, like adding the water stream and the killing chamber. And then I need to add another water stream on this level right here. I can't place the block, but this is going to be like another platform, and then there's going to be a water stream on top of that leading to the middle as well. Yeah, the farms are actually very easy to build, so I'm just going to get back to finishing this one, and then there's another 7 to build as well. The longest part of this is going to be cleaning out the land underneath where the farms are going to go. So yeah, I'm just going to get straight back to work on this because there's a lot of work to do. I started building up some more of the iron farms, and I didn't really go into too much detail about the design that I've been using. And that's just because it doesn't really matter what design you use. If you want to do this project like I'm doing, you can just put 8 of any iron farm in there and it should work as long as they're over 100 blocks apart from each other. The original design I did go for was kind of inspired by Silent Whisper, but I changed it up a little bit. And then I actually had some problems with it. So once I had 3 of my iron farms in place, some of the villagers were unlinking from the workstations, so I kind of had to sort them out. So instead of having 10 villagers in one chamber and then 10 villagers in another chamber for every farm, I changed it up and each villager got its own separate little chamber. So there was 20 per farm. And I did add water in these clips, but I removed that later on. I think the problem I was having was there was too many villagers in each chamber and they started just unlinking to the workstations and the beds and stuff. So it was like massively reducing the rate. After I got the first few farms built up in this new design, I ran into another problem where the iron golems were spawning around the outside of the farm. So I heard somewhere that if you put a slab on the top of a block, iron golems can't spawn on that. So I went for that design around the outside of the farm, and whoever said that lied because iron golems can still spawn on the top half slab. So I just placed these iron pressure plates around the outside for now, just because nothing can spawn on there. And I've got plenty of iron at this point. Now I had to start clearing out some land so I could build the last 2 iron farms that are going to be at the bottom of the project. But doing this without a beacon was just way too slow, and I didn't want to move the beacon I already had. So I googled how to trap the wither under the end portal, and then I went to the end. And the video that I watched just like completely lied. The wither got out, it ended up almost killing me. I did actually use a totem, which is the first time I've used a totem on this world for a long time. I think it's actually the first time I've ever used one that wasn't because of a glitch. But I did manage to kill it, and I did get the Nether star. I went back to the project, I set up the beacon, and then it was much faster clearing out all of the land. I built up the final 2 farms that were built at the bottom of the project, and then I just completely ran out of villagers. So I couldn't make any more progress on the iron farms without any villagers, and I couldn't make any more progress on the rest of the project until I removed the ocean monument. So I just got to work on destroying it, and of course it rained for about 90% of the time lapse. After I destroyed the monument, I decided just to plan out where it's going to go when I'm going to rebuild it, and then this meant that I could mark out where all of the pathways are going to go as well. So you can see that here with all of the prismarine, and these just go to all of the farms and then go to like the middle of the monument as well. So this is where all of the storage is going to be, and then the Nether portal and stuff as well. So you can see that I've got all 4 of the bottom farms in place. I haven't got the top farms in place yet. I did actually build this one up here, but as you saw in the clips, I changed the design of the farm. So this one had 10 villagers in 2 separate pods. And I'm going to change this and have the 10 separate chambers around the outside, or the 20 separate chambers around the outside, and then 1 villager in each of them. So I've not destroyed the farm, but I just removed the villagers. And while I was building this thing, I actually ran into a few problems, as you saw, but I managed to fix all of them. And there was one other problem I couldn't fix. So the whole point of this project is that I stay AFK here. This is like the centre of the entire project. All of the iron farms work, and then the guardian farm works at the same time. The project I ran into is the guardian farm only works if my simulation distance is on 4, and the iron farms will only work if my simulation distance is on 8 or above. So I actually can't use both of the farms at the same time. I can either use the guardian farm, or I can change my simulation distance to 8, and then I can use the iron farms. So it's not really ideal. I really wanted to use both of them at the same time. But every time I use this project, I'm going to have to decide if I want to get the iron or if I want to get the prismarine stuff. So that was quite a big setback. And I did lose quite a lot of motivation for this project when I found that out, and then when I was having problems with the iron farms and stuff. But I managed to fix the iron farms at least, so I got all my motivation back. But yeah, it's not ideal, but it's just something I'm going to have to deal with. I still think this project is going to turn out really good anyway. Also, by the time that I realised, I already put about 20 hours into this project, so it'd just be a complete waste if I gave up. So yeah, I'm going to keep going with the project. I'm going to try and get as much of it finished as I can in today's episode, and I think this is going to be one of my favourite projects on the world. And I did a 1 hour test to see how much iron I would get in 1 hour, and this is how much you can see here. So almost a full shulker box of iron, and that's only with the 4 farms running, so once I get the other 4 farms up in the sky as well, I should really be getting twice that much, but I don't think it will quite be that much. But I am getting plenty of iron already, and this is only a single player world. I really don't need that much iron, and I've already got like a full shulker box of iron blocks almost here. So yeah, I really don't need this much iron, but it's just a project that I really wanted to work on. So I can't work on the rest of the iron farms until I've got the villagers. So I just want to work on decorating this place a little bit, because it's going to take a long time to do all of this. You can see that I've got the pathways marked out, and I brought some blackstone along. I thought blackstone would look good with the prismarine. So I've got some of the bricks, the cracked bricks, and then plenty of the regular blackstone. So you can see the pathway that goes from the temple up here towards the farm, like around the farm here, and then it's just a big symmetrical pattern. So all of this area that is in the middle, and this is the same on all 4 of the sides, I want to destroy all of this area and like move it down by about 20 blocks, I think. So there's going to be 4 massive holes, and I want each one to be a different theme. So one of them is probably going to be a snow theme, and then a deep slate theme, maybe a nether one. I'm not really too sure. But yeah, I just think that will look good, and that's how I'm going to decorate this big project. But anyway, I've got so many ideas for what I want to do. I just want to clear up some of the shulkers first. There's so much junk around here. And then I'm going to get straight back to work on it again. I started off by making some water streams to transport all of the iron from the corner farms into the centre of the project where all of the storage is going to be. And then I just covered these up with some blackstone blocks as the pathways. After this I got back to work on the iron farms that are going to be up in the sky. But I had a few problems with them again. I built one and for some reason it stopped the iron golems from spawning down on the bottom farm. So I just kind of gave up with that project for now, and I destroyed all of the progress that I made. So for now I'm just going to keep the 4 iron farms, and then maybe in the future I'll come back and add another 4 up above. I decided to rebuild the monument after that. So I had plenty of reference images to copy, and I just rebuilt it. It didn't actually take that long, it was pretty easy to do. But once I finished I realised that I made a little bit of a mistake, so I had to tear a little bit of it down and then rebuild it. But overall it didn't actually take that long. And once that was done I started digging the holes on the outside of the project. And this is mostly just because I wanted to put the finished outside of the project on the thumbnail, so I wanted to try and get as much of it done as I could. So I'm going to work on the inside of the project afterwards. And the way I went about this is I did a little bit of digging and then a little bit of building, and then digging and then building. And this just saves me having to use scaffolding and stuff later on to do some of the building in the walls. And I managed to find a geode, which is pretty useful because I'm going to be using some of these blocks later on in the build. So that was quite lucky. So you've already seen most of this, but I got all of the item water streams set up. So these 2 farms over here are connected, and then the items go down to there. And then these 2 farms connect in the middle and then go down to here. So I've got a chest at both sides inside the monument with all the items gathering. I'm not going to get to the inside of the monument today. This is where I want the storage room and stuff, but I just don't have any ideas in mind for how I'm going to make this look good. So this is a project for another day. It's going to be quite a big project, and I've just got no inspiration or ideas at the moment. So I'm going to be coming back to this. And as you saw, I couldn't get the top iron farms to work. I don't know if the game has changed or something, but these iron farms are 100 blocks above the bottom ones, just like it was on my previous world. But if I build it up at the top, it either just doesn't work and doesn't spawn any iron golems, or it massively decreases the rates of the bottom farm. So I built 2 of them up on a creative world, and I stayed AFK, and I actually ended up getting less rates than I did with just the 4 farms. So I think I need to look into that a little bit more, do some more testing, But for right now, I'm getting plenty of iron with the 4 farms anyway, so it's not like I need the extra 4. I'm getting almost a full shulker box per hour, and this is on a single player world, so yeah, I'm never really going to need that much iron. The only reason I wanted to build the top ones was just to see what would happen and how much I could actually get. It's not really practical to get that much iron on a single player world anyway, so I probably will come back in another episode and try to get the extra 4 farms to work. But for right now, I'm just happy with these ones down here. And I'm actually getting a lot of glow ink sacs from these farms as well, which is quite useful. I was going to build a farm for these glow squids, but I just never got around to it. So I probably don't even need to build one now because I'm getting plenty of them just from these iron farms here. But anyway, on to the next part of the project. You saw that I dug this big hole around the outside of the monument. And then I've got these big archways which are separating each of the quadrants. So if I fly up here, this is 1 quadrant right below me, and 2, 3, and 4. And like I've already mentioned, each one of these is going to be a different biome or a different theme. And I actually got a load of materials digging all of this out. So a lot of cobblestone, granite, diorite, gravel, dirt, all of these are full. And then I also got a load of ores as well. So the iron isn't really useful at this point, but I got plenty of copper, which is always nice. So yeah, I got plenty of resources from digging this out. So I think the first biome I want to do is the Nether biome, and it's going to be here. So at the front of the monument on the left. And I don't really know what I'm going to do exactly, but I've got some ideas in mind. I want to mostly just fill it all up with netherrack, and then I want to make sure it's not all flat in the walls. So I'm probably going to dig back a little bit here, try and build some hills and stuff just to make it so it's not so flat everywhere. And then I also want to add a structure to each of the quadrants. So obviously in the Nether, I'm going to go for the Nether fortress. I'm also going to try and make use of these natural caves in the wall. So I think this one connects over there. So I could make it so you could walk all of the way through and keep it to the Nether theme. So yeah, I've got a few ideas. I'm just going to get to work on it. The reason I'm doing the Nether one first is because I've got so much netherrack and quartz and stuff over at the base. I think this is going to be the easiest one to do just because I've already got the resources. I got a little bit carried away and I went ahead and pretty much finished the entire first quadrant here. So I say pretty much finished because I think I am still going to change a couple of things or add a few things. But it's pretty much there. I tried to make it look as natural as possible. I usually struggle with this kind of thing, but I think I did quite a good job here. I know it doesn't look completely natural in some places, but I think it is kind of a believable Nether if you look at like certain areas of it. Like if you saw the screenshot here, you could actually believe that that is in the Nether. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it all turned out. I had to change the fortress a little bit and like put my own spin on it, just because the ones that generate naturally are a little bit too bulky. But I actually prefer my design here. And if I run through here, I actually put a chest inside of the fortress. And this is the exact same loot layout as I got in my first ever chest inside a Nether fortress on this world. So that's just like a little bit of an Easter egg there. And then there's a staircase that comes down, and then this is the other side. It did take me a few hours to get all of this done, and I didn't do any planning beforehand. I just came over here, got all of the resources together, and just winged it. And yeah, I'm actually really happy with the outcome. So I think I'm going to move on from this one and then go onto this one here. And this is going to be the snow biome. So I've got a little farm set up just over here. Well, I don't know if I can really call this a farm, but I've been collecting a load of snow. This is going to be the main block I'm going to use. I think I also need to get some diorite, maybe some calcite and stuff, some spruce for some trees. And I don't really know what I'm going to be doing exactly. I had quite a good idea for that one, like I had most of that planned out in my head. But for this one, I really don't have too many ideas. So I think I'll probably try and plan this one out on a creative world first, and then I'll come back over here. So we'll see what I can come up with for this one, and I might also go and do that one as well. I started off by digging the walls back by a few blocks. I still wasn't completely sure what the plan was, but I knew I wanted to add a little bit of depth to the walls. So I mined it back by about 4 blocks. And then I started adding some stone just to shape the walls up a little bit. Once I got the general shape that I wanted, I started adding some slabs and stairs just to get some extra shapes in there. And for right now I was just using stone, but I did add a little bit of cobblestone afterwards just for a little bit of variation. And finally, to finish off the walls, I added a little bit of deep slate just for some shadows, and then I put some ores around just for a little bit of extra texture. Then I started doing a little bit more digging in the floor because I wanted to add a frozen lake, and I actually managed to find some diamonds, which was quite nice. I started planning out where the lake was going to go. I just started off by placing the snow around, and once I got the general shape, I added the ice. So I put packed ice underneath some normal ice. So I saw this on Hermitcraft pretty recently, and I pretty much copied it from there. I like the idea, and I like how it looked. So yeah, just packed ice and then just regular ice above it. So that was the main bulk of the project done. I just had to go around and add some smaller details. So I started off just by adding some dirt and some rocks and grass. And I also used these snow layers. However, the snow layers started melting. I think it's because I'm in an ocean biome. So I had to use some white carpets instead. I don't think it looks anywhere near as good, but there's nothing I can do about that really. I had to use the carpets instead of the snow. And I finished the project off with some custom trees. I just used some spruce fences and then some spruce leaves, and I actually think they turned out pretty nice. I added a few other small details since I finished recording those clips. So I've got some little stones around. I put some carpets on some of the leaves as like snow. And then I've also got a little campfire down here with some rocks, like someone would sit on here near the fire. So yeah, this is the snow biome. It's pretty much complete. There is one other thing I want to change, which is this cave over here. So I want to like do the inside of this cave, and this just goes up to this top ledge. So yeah, there's not really too much more to do on the outside, but I want to do this at some point. But I've actually run out of time to record for today. So I really wanted to try and get all of this project done, but I've been working on it for about 3 weeks now. I've put so many hours into it, I can't even remember how many I've put into it overall. So I really wanted to at least get all of the different biomes done, but I've only managed to get the 2 for today. And I also really wanted to get all 8 of the farms, but for some reason, like I said, they just wasn't working. So I'm going to have to do that another time as well. And I was going to work on it for the next few days and try get these 2 biomes done. But it's the 22nd of December today, so it's Christmas in a few days. And I think I just want to finish recording this episode, try get it edited all tomorrow, and then it's probably going to get posted on Christmas Eve. So this is going to be the last video that I'm going to post this year. I'm going to be back in the new year, I don't know exactly when, but I'm going to take a couple of weeks off, just over Christmas and the new year. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video, I hope everyone has a nice Christmas and New Year's, and I will see you all next time.